The ability to effectively communicate at work, home, and in life is probably the most important set of skills a person needs. What would our life and world be like without communication? We could not get along without it. It is also not easy, and we all have probably had experiences where our communication failed or ran into a barrier. So if we can understand the communication process better and improve it, we will become a more effective and successful communicator. This lesson will cover what effective communication is, the key elements of the process, the various ways we communicate, and a brief look at the barriers that get in the way. Let's begin by looking at the definition of effective communication. Effective communication is to share meaning and understanding between the person sending the message and the person receiving the message. The key element is understanding. So, in order to be an effective communicator, we must first and foremost be understood in our various communication. Now that we understand the purpose of effective communication, let's take a closer look at elements in the communication process. By analyzing the parts of the process, we are better able to understand the whole. It has 4 key elements. First is the sender, or is also known as the communicator. The sender is the person who is sending the message, which is used in communicating through writing, speech, or by signals. There are 2 factors that will determine how effective the communicator will be. The first factor is the communicator's attitude, and the second factor is the communicator's selection of meaningful symbols. After the message is sent by the sender, the receiver will receive the message. The receiver will make sense of it or understand and translate the message into meaning. The receiver could also be the communicator. How can that be? It is when the receiver responds to the message that he becomes the communicator. Communication is only effective or successful when the reaction of the receiver is that which the communicator intended. Feedback is that reaction I just mentioned. It can be a verbal or non-verbal response. It can be an internal feedback or external feedback. When we say internal feedback, it is something that we can't see. When we say external feedback, it is something that we can see. It's the feedback that allows the communicator to adjust his message and be more effective. Without feedback, there would be no way of knowing if meaning had been shared or if understanding had taken place. At any point in the communication process, a barrier can occur. Barrier keeps us from understanding others' ideas and thoughts. There are 2 types of barriers, internal and external. Example of internal barriers are fatigue, poor listening skills, attitude toward the sender or information, lack of interest in the message, fear, mistrust, past experiences, negative attitudes, problems at home, lack of common experiences, and emotions. Example of external behaviors include noise, distractions, email not working, bad phone connections, time of day, sender used too many technical words for the audience, and environment. These keep the message from getting through. Effective communication is a major part in achieving more educational goals. Remember that communication involves speaking, listening, and observing. The ability to effectively communicate is a critical skill. Now that you have learned the communication process, you can begin to evaluate your communication skills.